This is a video of the 2019 United States Pony Club riding test expectations for D1 through C2. We'll break it down into flat and jump at each respective level and going over the riding test expectations. The C1 riding test expectations on the flat and over fences. Candidates should ride with confidence and control, demonstrating a secure base of support, a basic balanced position, and use of natural aids. The candidate should begin riding mount freely forward in balance and rhythm while developing a light contact. So you'll see that we've added several words from the D3. The thing that maintains the same is the basic balanced position. Again, throughout all the levels, a basic balanced position looks like a straight line from ear to shoulder to hip to heel, and also a straight line from elbow to hand to bit. And at the C1, we add use of natural aids, which is weight, leg, hand, seat, voice, limited use, and eyes, where the rider's looking. They should begin riding the mount freely forward, which is not just forward and not just free, but a specific term to describe the horse coming forward off the leg, tracking up such that the back leg lands in or in front of the hoof print left by the front leg. And the horse is free of tension, meaning that they're stretching over their top line and again moving off the rider's leg. They need to be doing this in balance and rhythm, so the horse is not running on their forehand or sluggish behind the aids, and they're maintaining a consistent gait, not breaking from trot to canter or canter to trot or walk when not asked, so that the rhythm and tempo stay consistent. And a light contact is seen by the rider maintaining the connection through a soft feel of the reins. So there should be less of a loop in the reins at C1 than at D3. Since they are beginning to initiate this, you will see it 25 to 50% of the time, and we expect to see it more at the C2. Again, we see the secure base of support, which they should have mastered at the D3, so they should maintain that at the C1 as they add more sophisticated movements and streamline their aids to be more clear in their communication to the mount. We also add a lot more discussion. The C1 is expected to know and understand more of how they affect the mount and affect how the mount reacts and rides. And again, the C1 candidate should understand how their natural aids correctly influence their mount. So the C1 riding on the flat will ride consistently demonstrating the riding expectations at all gaits. They should demonstrate suppling exercises for a rider without stirrups at the walk and demonstrate mount's warm-up routine for everyday work. They should have a clear plan to improve the horse's way of going from the beginning of the ride to the end of the warm-up. If they can include many of the figures needed for the C1 in the warm-up, great. Otherwise, some of the movements may be done after the warm-up. They will need to discuss their warm-up for themselves and their mount with examiner using terms and understanding of the training scale, particularly the bottom three rungs, so rhythm, relaxation, and connection, including balance and tempo and energy as discussed or demonstrated on the training scale. It can be the USDF or the jumper training scale. They're two scales that have slightly different words at the bottom, but generally the same meaning. The movements include performing figure eights with simple transitions at each gait and demonstrating correct bend, riding without stirrups at the sitting trot. Again, this is like at the D3, but just with more sophistication and being able to maintain more of a connection than at the D3. They will demonstrate a long rein, loose rein, and light contact at the walk and discuss the difference. Discuss aids for and then demonstrate a turn on the forehand. With a turn on the forehand, we want to know that they can ask the horse to move sideways off their aids without backing up or moving forward. And it's mostly a question of do they understand how to use lateral aids, not so much a textbook example from the horse. But some practice should be evidence when they do perform it. But again, it does not need to be perfect. At the C1 and C2, a lot of discussion can make up for lack of demonstrating, and repeats and redos are allowed to improve what is shown. They also need to demonstrate a halt followed by a simple rein back of just 1 to 2 steps, and this should look more polished than at the D3 because they're asked for it again. But again, it's not a second level of movement. The riding at C1 is loosely comparable to beginner-novice in eventing. Having said that, the candidate for C1 will ride a USEF beginner-novice test A. As examiners and testing organizers, a dressage ring should be set up for this. They will ride through the test and then discuss performance with examiner, including the following: the rider's basic balance position, whether or not the mount was moving freely forward in balance, rhythm, tempo, and whether rider established a light contact. They will discuss their warm-up, their entire ride, and the test. A C1 over fences will continue to demonstrate riding expectations. This will be seen over a small gymnastic grid of 3 fences, finishing with an ascending oxer set at but not to exceed 2.9 and set at appropriate distances for mount strides. You should see 3 to 4 trot poles set up at 4 to 4.5 feet, followed by a cross rail at 8 to 9 feet, double the trot pole distance depending on that distance. And then from the cross rail, it will be a 1 stride to a vertical and another 1 stride to an oxer. The first 1 stride should be set at 15 to 18 feet depending on the horse's size, and the second 1 stride will be approximately 21 feet depending again on the horse's size. You will see a diagram of the grid at the back of the standards of proficiency for the C level. The rider should demonstrate maintaining their base of support and their basic balance position while confidently riding through the grid. They will then ride over a jump course of 6 to 8 obstacles, including a 2-stride combination that should again be set at the appropriate distance for mount stride. The majority of fences should be at 2.9 but not exceed 2.9, and about a third of the course should be oxers. So if there are 6 jumps, at least 2 of the jumps should be oxers. If there are 8, 2 to 3 of the jumps should be oxers. Afterwards, the rider will discuss performance with the examiner, including rhythm, tempo, and balance, and ways ride could be improved. If the rider is on the wrong lead at the sea level, they at least need to be aware of it in their discussion, if not correct it during the course. If they don't correct it, they should rebalance and ride a pseudo counter canter. It doesn't have to be a full counter canter. And they do need to maintain a consistent rhythm and tempo seen by mostly cantering through. If a canter lead needs to be changed, it should be done quickly and efficiently while not dwelling in the trot. That is part of the C1 expectations. For riding in the open, the C1 candidate should ride safely with control in a group on a suitable mount at the walk, trot, and canter over varied terrain as available. Their speed should not exceed 325 to 350 meters per minute, but they should ride at a canter, and they should demonstrate skills similar to requirements at the beginner-novice level. They discuss and demonstrate riding safely over varied terrain, incorporating as many of the following elements as local conditions allow: hills, small or shallow ditches, low banks, flat open areas, and shallow streams. Again, as available, they do not need to be found for a testing, but if they are there, they may be used. They will then need to ride over 5 to 7 cross-country obstacles at appropriate speed, which is 240 to 350 meters per minute. Again, the majority of fences should be at 2.6 to 2.9, but not to exceed 2.9. Afterwards, the candidate will discuss performance with the examiner, giving reasons for any disobediences and ways that they could correct it, and the rider should be confident and in control throughout all of the C1 riding.